Hey, what is up guys? It's Stan here, back with another video. So this is going to be a follow-up to the 38GL950G review of this monitor I did last week. I've got my monitor arm in from Amazon and I'm going to be installing that, and we're going to be taking a look at that. Along with, there was some questions about the software, about the picture-in-picture, so I'm going to do a couple tests on that. And then I also had a request about showing a little bit more of the LED Sphere 2.0 lighting, so we'll take a look at that as well. So without further ado, let's get into the monitor arm. One of the biggest gripes I had for the 38-inch LG monitor was basically the build quality of the stand. Now, the monitor stand pole is made out of metal, but the stand down here is plastic. And because of that, in the mounting mechanism, there is a little bit of wobble and a little bit of tilting, by a few degrees. It is by design, but I just didn't want that slop in the monitor stand. So that's where this comes in. This product, this is the Amazon Basics Premium monitor stand. It's on Amazon for $99. And when I looked at it, I realized that this monitor stand is actually made by Ergotron. And I've had pretty good experience in the past with Ergotron. I had like a, I think it's the Ergotron LX monitor stand. I bought it back in way back in 2012, 2013. Very good stand. I sold it with the monitor back then I had, but since I had such a good experience with that monitor stand, if Amazon is offering an Amazon Basic version of it and only charging $99, pretty big discount from the original price of the premium or the full branded name item, thought that maybe it was worth looking into. So that's where this comes in. And I'll make sure to link everything in the description down below so that you guys can check it out if this is something that you're interested in. Now, one thing to note is that the stand, I think, supports up to 32-inch monitors or something like that. Officially, it doesn't support 38-inch monitors, but given the weight of this monitor, it isn't actually too much. I think it should be okay. We'll see it firsthand. So the Ergotron monitor stand, or the Amazon Basics monitor stand, just comes in a few pieces, and you can see here the label here, instead of saying Ergotron, it says Amazon Basics. And the build quality is pretty solid. You got metal base, metal, I think either aluminum or I'm actually not sure if it's steel or aluminum, but it's definitely metal base, metal arms. The way it works is it clamps to the table and it builds out. So let me get this thing all installed and I'll get it mounted to the 38-inch monitor. Now, the kit comes with either thumb screws or regular screws, but since the monitor comes with 4 screws already, I think I'm going to be using the monitor screws, and we'll just screw this in that way. Alright, there you go. So as you can see, this monitor is completely installed. Everything is clamped in and adjusted. I did have to tighten up the screw in here so that I can make sure that the monitor doesn't fall by itself, but now that it's all tightened, everything's ready to go. It's actually really, really nice, and it's exactly as I expected because, again, the Ergotron monitor arms are really nice. And even though it's Amazon Basics branded, it's still very good quality. Now, there is a cable hiding mechanism where you can have a couple ties here, and then this right here, if I remember correctly, you can hide your cable in here, and you can slide that in, and all your cables are basically out of the way and moves with this arm. So the range of motion here is very good. I can get it really high, or I can get it basically all the way down to the bottom here. You can adjust the height of this by unscrewing this and lifting it up so that you can get up maybe another inch and a half higher if I needed to. This, as you saw the installation, this can be disassembled here and here. And the swivel, tilt, pivot, this thing just moves, it slides really, really easily. Then again, it's one of those things, once you get the monitor into position, you don't really need to move it at all anymore. But this basically allows you to grab it in position exactly where you want. And the nice thing is, you can see this lift, this length here is actually pretty extreme. You're talking about, I want to say almost 3 feet of, maybe 2.5, 3 feet of total length here. It's actually pretty impressive considering how big this monitor is. And again, 38 inches ultra wide. You're pushing the top end of monitor sizes, and even though this arm isn't officially rated for something this big, it handles it no problem. So now what I'll do is I'll get it all plugged in, show you some software things that people were asking for, along with a better look at the Sphere 2.0 light effects up against this wall. So be right back. All right, so the first thing I wanted to show was the on-screen control effect. I've got WoW running on the right-hand side, and I've got Explorer or my computer on the left-hand side. And as you can see here, I showed before that you can have your different windows split in different ways. Now, in order to get this to work, what you really need is a game that has the ability to run in a windowed mode. And what I mean by window mode, I really mean window mode, not windowed full screen or full screen. WoW, for example, has the capability of running in a windowed mode, so like I can click and drag this around and reposition it however. So if your game runs in windowed mode, that's where this works. You can have your different splits, and this will work, and you can watch your video on the left-hand side and play your game on the right-hand side. But if your game, for example, Final Fantasy XIV, if your game runs in a full screen window mode, then the on-screen control will not work the same way. You can have your different splits, but as you can see in the background, the game just does not, there's no way to split the different areas here, because again, it's a full screen window game. The only way to get things to work when you have a game like this is with the picture-in-picture mode, which is right here. If I select the picture-in-picture mode, you can see here you have a little screen on, or a little box on the right-hand side, and you can see I can play a video, and if I click and drag that into the screen, it'll snap to that screen location, and of course you can play your video. But the problem with this is kind of small, to be honest. I haven't found a way to make the picture-in-picture any bigger. It is just stuck at that size. So as you can see, this is a video. Because of the dimensions, you only get a little teeny tiny bit right here. Again, I guess it's nice to have to be able to even have this feature, but it would have been nice to be able to make this a little bit bigger and have this always on top. And as you can see, I can play my game here and have this always on top. It's great, it works, but at the same time, it would have been nice if it was a little bit bigger. Now, the last point I wanted to make was about the Sphere 2.0 lighting. I've turned down the lights and I've kind of closed the blinds here so you can kind of see. The effect that you get is pretty nice, actually. This area is pretty red. You got the fire going. and you have a pretty red effect. Now, if the wall was a little bit closer, or if I didn't have the blue blinds, you would see the red splashed all across the wall. And you can see here as I pan and move, the flames kind of move along with it. But as I mentioned before, there was a little bit of latency or lag, and I can show you the effect by just using Chrome here, for example. As I move, you can see here on the bottom of the screen, because it's a bright white square, it shows up on the bottom here. And the end effect is, I can move it from the left to right, and the shadow or the bright spot beneath is kind of slow to keep up. Now, if you were watching the video, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but any bit of latency when it comes to gaming, you kind of feel that quite a bit more than if you were to just watch a video. Now, is it a deal breaker? No, not really. The effect is still there of gaming, and again, you're kind of using this as just the ambient effect here. The last point about this is the Sphere 2.0 LEDs on the back. There are only a handful of LEDs. It's not like there's 100 LEDs on the back. So the end result is it is a little bit juddery, just because you're moving between the individual sections of LEDs on the back. So that's why perhaps you're not getting a 100% smooth pan, and jumping between the LEDs as you move across the bottom of the screen here, and the input lag. That's why it's a little bit disconnected. But again, you're not buying this screen purely for the Sphere 2.0 lighting effect. It's nice to have. You're really buying it for the ultra-wide aspect ratio and the high refresh rate and the G-Sync, and the lighting on the LED lighting on the back is just a little bonus. And as you can see, it is bright enough to be able to make a discernible difference. And just from the look at the flames here, you can see it is a pretty cool effect that you get on the table, on the wall, and complements whatever you're playing. So yeah, that was just a quick look at the Amazon Basics arm mount for this monitor, and as you can see, it works very well. I'm very happy with this arm, and it is actually quite premium in its feel, in its build, and the smoothness of everything. And especially for $99, it's quite a bit less than what Ergotron asks on their product and what they used to go for. I remember, I think I bought it originally for almost over $200, the original one back in the early 2012, 2013 or whatever. So it is a nice product. Now, are there other monitor arms? Yes. Will they work? Most likely. Again, there's probably very few monitor mounts out there for 38-inch. Most likely they will work, again, because these monitors aren't really that heavy and the arms are usually a little bit overbuilt. Just make sure you pick up a premium one, and there's a highly reviewed one. If you want to pick up the one that I've got, I'll make sure to link it in the description down below so that you can get exactly the same one. And hopefully that was just another good look at the picture-in-picture and then the on-screen controls of the LG monitor. Anyway, hopefully this video was useful. If this is kind of your thing, make sure to hit that like button and perhaps consider subscribing for future videos. I'll see you guys in the next one.